Most people no longer know what their mind feels like without interruption. The phone wakes them up. Notifications reach them before their own thoughts do. And before the day even begins, their nervous system is already reacting to the world. This is not normal. It only became normal because it happened slowly, one notification at a time, one endless scroll at a time, one exhausted midnight screen at a time. And eventually, human beings stopped resting. They only learned how to pause briefly between interruptions. This is the hidden collapse of the digital age. Not lack of intelligence, not lack of ambition. Cognitive overload. The exhaustion you feel is not weakness, it is overstimulation. A nervous system stretched beyond the conditions human beings were designed to endure. Maybe you already know this feeling. The tired eyes still scrolling long after the body wants sleep. The constant urge to check something, even when nothing important happened, trying to focus deeply, while your attention keeps reaching for stimulation automatically. Feeling mentally noisy, even in silence. This is where the void protocol begins. Not as escape, not as isolation, but as a return to internal clarity. The void is not emptiness. It is the absence of unnecessary noise. At the center of chaos, there is stillness. A place where attention can finally stabilize long enough for the mind to hear itself clearly again. This is the Observatory of Silence. Not a temple, not fantasy. A symbolic architecture representing the restoration of focus in an age of cognitive fragmentation. Inside the observatory, nothing pulls at your attention. No notifications, no algorithmic pressure, no endless stimulation demanding reaction every second. Only stillness, only awareness, only the sound of your own nervous system slowing down after years of overload. And for many people, this silence initially feels uncomfortable because distraction was masking exhaustion, noise was hiding fragmentation, constant stimulation was preventing confrontation with reality. Inside silence, unfinished thoughts return. Fatigue becomes visible. Emotional static becomes difficult to ignore. Some people are now so overstimulated that even 5 quiet minutes without digital input feels unbearable. This is not weakness, it is conditioning. The modern world trained human beings to fear stillness because stillness reveals how fragmented their attention has become. This is the first principle of the void protocol. Focus is no longer merely a productivity skill. It is a biological advantage. The body keeps score of attention. Chaotic inputs create chaotic internal states. Endless stimulation dysregulates the nervous system. Constant context switching exhausts cognition. And over time, mental fragmentation becomes physical exhaustion. This is why biological integrity matters. Sleep matters. Breathing matters. Environment matters. Attention hygiene matters. Because performance is never separate from the condition of the system producing it. The modern world glorifies output while quietly destroying the biological foundation required to sustain meaningful work. Burnout is no longer rare. Attention fatigue is no longer rare. Dopamine dependency is no longer rare. Many people are not lacking ambition. They are recovering from years of overstimulation they never learned how to regulate. And maybe this explains something you quietly felt for years. Why even moments of rest sometimes no longer feel restorative. This is where the protocol changes direction, not through intensity, through refinement, removing unnecessary inputs, reducing digital friction, protecting attention intentionally, restoring clarity gradually, The Void Protocol does not ask you to abandon the world. It asks you to stop allowing the world unrestricted access to your nervous system. This is the second principle of the Void Protocol. Silence restores signal. Inside the observatory, time feels different. Not because time literally changes, but because fragmented attention stops consuming so much cognitive energy. Most people no longer experience deep focus consistently enough to remember what mental clarity actually feels like. Their attention is interrupted before momentum can fully form. The protocol interrupts this cycle. 90 days, 90 minutes, one meaningful objective. The 90-91 rule is not simply productivity. It is cognitive restoration, a deliberate reclaiming of attention from systems designed to fragment it endlessly. For 90 minutes, the world disappears. Your phone becomes irrelevant. Notifications lose authority. The algorithm falls silent. Only the work remains. This is deep work, not hustle, not performative productivity. Uninterrupted cognitive presence directed toward meaningful creation. The modern world rewards reaction. Deep work rewards construction. Reaction creates noise. Construction creates legacy. This is why meaningful work increasingly feels rare. Most people are too overstimulated to remain present long enough to create something enduring. The Void Protocol restores this capacity slowly. One focused session at a time. One quiet morning at a time. One protected attention cycle at a time. And gradually, the nervous system begins stabilizing again. Thought becomes cleaner. Emotion becomes less reactive. Decision-making becomes calmer. The mind no longer feels scattered across 1,000 competing signals. And for a moment, everything becomes silent. No urgency, no endless switching, no performance. Only direction, only presence, only the realization that clarity was never destroyed. It was buried beneath interference. This is the third principle of the Void Protocol. The quality of your attention shapes the quality of your life. Every repeated distraction rewires something. Every repeated focus strengthens something else. The nervous system adapts to whatever it repeatedly experiences. This is why information becomes environmental architecture. What repeatedly enters the mind eventually shapes perception itself. The digital age created infinite access, but very little filtration, infinite content, infinite stimulation, infinite emotional triggers competing for human attention every second. Artificial intelligence will accelerate this further. The future will not simply contain more information. It will contain more synthetic persuasion than any generation in history has ever experienced. This is why clarity becomes sacred, not mystical, practical, human. The ability to maintain coherent thought inside overwhelming noise will become one of the defining advantages of the future. Not because focused people are superior, but because fragmented systems eventually collapse under their own overload. The strongest creators are rarely the loudest. They are the most internally stable. Their attention is directed intentionally. Their environment reinforces clarity. Their systems protect focus instead of destroying it. This is why calm people often appear powerful, not because they dominate reality, but because reality no longer constantly dominates their nervous system. And maybe this is what people were truly searching for all along. Not endless stimulation, not constant connection, not the pressure to react to everything happening at machine speed, only the feeling of becoming mentally present inside their own life again. And maybe silence was never empty. Maybe it was the place where the self was waiting to be found again. This is the final truth of the Void Protocol. Silence is not emptiness. It is recovery. It is restoration. It is the space where fragmented attention slowly reorganizes itself into coherence again. The protocol was never about escaping the world. It was about reclaiming enough clarity to move through the world without losing yourself to its noise. And when the signal finally stabilizes, the human mind becomes capable of meaningful work, meaningful direction, and meaningful impact without destroying itself in the process. The observatory remains silent, but inside that silence, something essential finally returns. And once attention finally becomes stable again, a deeper question begins emerging naturally. If clarity returns, what should your life actually be built toward?